The Eagles should sign every single player that's been cut so far by the NFL teams across the board. They absolutely should sign every player. We are going to give our farewell addresses to Greg Ward. Bye-bye, Greg. Phillies get smashed in Arizona. That, so much more. Trending in the AM starts in 30 seconds.
Holding gets around in front.
And Philadelphia has it.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. We're live, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow. If you're watching on YouTube, you hit the thumbs up, you hit the subscribe button, drop comments in the comment section. Doing all that helps bump us up the list, helps us with the algorithm and all that great stuff to make sure people are finding this show. The best morning show, the first YouTube morning show that is done daily in the Philadelphia area. Let's help continue to grow this thing. I am Phil Stifer, your host. Joining me as he did yesterday, and he is today again, my main man, Dylan Davis. Good morning, Dylan. How are we feeling this morning after staying up late to watch that Phillies game?
Not too late. Thank God I wasn't.
You weren't
thank
dumb
God
enough
I wasn't sitting there.
If somebody's watching and stayed up till the end of the game, let me know what time that game ended. Adam, I bet you stayed up. What time did you're off this week? You came into the pizza shop yesterday, said you're off all week. Did you stay awake for the entire game? I need to know what time that game ended, my friend.
Yeah, man.
No,
I probably lasted till like 12:30.
Dude, Dylan texted me at 10:30 last night to see to double check if he was on today, and I didn't get that message till 7 a.m. because I was already out at 10:30 last night.
Yeah, it was like 12:30, and once it got to 12:07, when it was 10:07, I was like, man, if they can get out of this, maybe the bats can get going. 12-7, I'm like, no shot, man. Like,
I love as a Phillies fan when you're in one of those moods and you're like, well, if only this happens, we've got a chance.
I think like the top of the order was coming up too. I think it was like Schwarber, Reese, Bryce, and it was 10-7, and I'm like, there's no shot. There's no shot. I was up to like 12:20, and it was like the 7th inning, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I got my times mixed up.
Maybe you were dreaming.
Maybe. I know I was up past midnight, and it was still on.
We're going to get into the Eagles game later on in the show. We got to talk Eagles. We got lots of things to tackle with the Eagles, and we're going to get into them. And if you are a tennis fan like me, stay tuned at the end of the show. I want to give a little shout out to Serena Williams and talk about last night and that big moment in her career for a little bit. I'm a huge tennis guy. So we're going to cover a wide range of topics in sports today on Trending in the AM. But Dylan, Eagles cut down day started yesterday. Obviously, Jaquiski Tartt, first name off the board. And we're not surprised. We both thought he was going to not make the team. The first thing I want to do is I want to call out the 47 other people that do what we do, content creation. See, I told you, pumping their chests like, yeah, I told you. Dude, guys, everybody knew Jaquiski Tartt was, anybody of any knowledge that follows this team knows Jaquiski Tartt was not making this team. Relax. You didn't come up with some like revolutionary idea that some inside source gave you. Everybody knew Jaquiski Tartt was getting cut. He was not making this team. Were you surprised when he was one of the first names announced yesterday?
One of the first names, kind of. I thought he had a chance to make the team just because of who was behind him. Outside of Reed Blankenship's camp, I thought him being a veteran, him coming from San Fran, maybe it helped some way. Clearly not. Clearly he had issues reading the playbook. Clearly when he's out there with the third stringers in the final preseason game in Miami and can't keep up, then things aren't going to end too well that following Monday. He was the first name that was put out there on Twitter. So that part I was a little bit surprised about. Like the safety position is one we talked about a lot throughout the last couple of weeks compared to any other position group. So I thought maybe that group would take a bit more time to kind of narrow down and figure out. Mm-hmm. And it didn't, man. They already had their mind made up with him. And, but it is funny to your point. And I saw not even just like Eagles fans or Eagles content creators that were like, I told you so. I've seen like other team fan bases on Twitter and social media like clamoring to bring him aboard.
Yeah, so it's
And-
funny. That's a great segue. I read an article this morning. I was going over. I typed in top names cut, and a CBS Sports article popped up. First name on the list, Jaquiski Tartt. He was released. This is the entire paragraph on him. Released by the Eagles. He was a 2015 second-round pick. It lists each player's athleticism, and it says he's an above-average athlete. And I repeat this word for word. Safeties with Tartt's experience level and productivity aren't casually available every August. He played in 80 games, blah, 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 for the 49ers. 4 picks and 18 pass breakups and 56 tackles last season, or average per season.
Mhm.
A rocketed up safety, best viciously attacking the middle of the field and line of scrimmage. I don't think he viciously attacks anything. His type of safety is the trendy type of safety that everybody wants in the NFL. He had 5 tackles in a Super Bowl, only 30. He should have plenty of suitors on the open market and should be picked up immediately. Is that not one of the most over-the-top articles on a player that just got cut, that couldn't beat out Reed Blankenship? You know, let's be honest. He could not beat out Reed Blankenship. And this is the article that CBS is putting out there.
Love the adjectives.
A lot of people were predicting this, George.
Love the big words. Love how they tried to pump up Jaquiski Tartt. Yeah,
Dude,
that's the point, man.
pathetic.
Like, listen, it would be different if we didn't see him struggle in live action in preseason, right? If we just thought, man, what aren't the Eagles seeing in camp? Like, how is Shashir and how is Blankenship and Harris and Epps? How are they light years ahead of him, I guess, if he's the first guy cut when it means something on Monday? You all witnessed the same thing with third string starters. If he's that safety, if he's that guy, Phil, he should pop off the screen when you're watching him around a bunch of threes and a little below threes, right? He didn't. He fit right in on the struggle bus in preseason game number 3, and you know it shouldn't be really a surprise to anybody.
When you get signed as that, you know, stopgap type person, that cheap 1-year deal at the end of free agency, you know, I talked about it with Eric Wilson and Anthony Harris last year. Eric Wilson did not stay long with the team. I talked about it with Tartt and Pascal. Now, Pascal proved to be a valuable asset. He is going to make the team. But there's a reason. When you sign these veterans for 1 year, $1.5, $2 million deals, they have to do something. Well, why would you keep a 30-year-old Tartt when you've got these young guys that you could develop? Maybe you develop. I don't know. I just think it's a little crazy that everybody wants to pump their chest that this guy, you know, magically that they predict it. You know, saying, look, we all predicted it at some point in time. We all could see that when he was playing in that third preseason game, late in the game, the writing was on the wall. There was no doubt about it.
Why would he be out there?
Yeah,
in the third quarter of a third preseason
there's
game.
no reason. They didn't want to risk Blankenship getting hurt, so they put Tartt out there, you know?
So I do have to share this with you. And George, listen up. So this is not about Jaquiski Tartt, but this is about another safety. No. This morning on Good Morning Football, Peter Schrager did a little breakdown of an Eagles player, okay?
Uh-oh.
He shouldn't be a question mark. If anything, he should be an exclamation mark. Talking about who, Phil?
Because you mentioned George's name, I'm going to say that's a Marcus Epps comment.
It is. He should not be a question mark. He should be an exclamation mark by Peter Schrager. Let's go. Who?
He has lost all credibility in my book now. No, I'm just kidding. Look, the safeties are starting to come together. We're starting to get a picture. You know, there was a lot of cuts. I mean, Richard Rodgers getting cut so quickly. I'm not really surprised there. And then the next name I want to talk about that got cut was obviously Greg Ward. They did the injury settlement. Greg Ward's now been here for a few years. Greg Ward, like George picked that I should turn Marcus or Epps into my Greg Ward now. Everybody thinks I hate Greg Ward. I made a joke like 2 years ago on a show, and it's like literally lived with me for 2 years now. I called him 20 catch for 42-yard Greg Ward because he can't get separation. But Greg Ward has done his role on this team very well for the last couple of years. It's a shame to see him go. I think if he wasn't hurt off camp, maybe he makes the roster instead of a Britton Covey or something like that.
Mhm.
But, they're doing right by him. And let me be honest, they're giving him that injury settlement, which isn't a requirement to do. There's a chance, in my opinion, that one of these young kids makes the team, Britton Covey or whoever. But then in 3 or 4 weeks into the season, if they're not performing, if they're not contributing on special teams, whatever, that guy gets cut and Greg Ward gets brought back in here.
I feel like he's coming back, dude. He's like a rash you can't get rid of, and I don't mean that in a totally negative way. Like,
No, you do.
it's
You
Greg
absolutely-
Ward. It's fine. I don't know, man. Like, how many years do we have to run back Greg Ward as the 5 or 6 wide receiver on this team? And halfway through the year, he's got to climb up the depth chart because of injuries and because guys aren't stepping up. And now he's the number 3 when they're trying to make a playoff run. And it's stuff that can't happen, right? Like, him and Boston Scott are the same to me, but Boston Scott's more of a necessity because that room is weaker and has less talent in it. So he gets a spot. I think he'll be back.
Jordan Matthews was 10 times the wide receiver that Greg Ward was.
Yeah.
I'm a big Jordan Matthews fan too. No, not really.
Yeah, Jordan Matthews greater than signed Greg Ward.
When
However,
he was trying to transition to tight end.
yeah, no, but listen, man, it was funny because me and you sat here yesterday and talked about Chris Franklin's article or report, and it was an idea that why is he still here if they know they're not going to see anything out of him? Maybe he is that 6 wide receiver they're going to keep. Nah, here's your cash, Greg. Have a nice little vacation. Maybe we'll see you by week 6.
Yeah. I get everything you're saying there, and the Boston Scott part of it is something I want to say because I know there's a lot of running backs getting cut, and Boston Scott is a necessity. In 2019, Boston Scott and Greg Ward helped Carson Wentz carry this team to the playoffs.
Wow.
But is Boston Scott is he really the same as Greg Ward, or is he better? Because I think there was like 2 weeks ago we were talking about how Boston Scott is a better running back than we give him credit for.
I wasn't talking about that.
We were on this show. Whoever was with me, whoever was opposite of me, we were talking about Boston Scott.
Why? Why? Because he drove down the field against the Browns in the preseason?
Maybe that was why.
It was why. That's why it happened.
We're going to talk about all these guys that are cutting. First off, it annoys me. Like I have to have Twitter on days like yesterday and today. So I got to get that information when somebody gets cut. I want to see that instant information.
Too many tweets get lost in the.
Too many tweets get lost because 750,000 people. Every single player. Dylan could get cut from a team. If Dylan got cut from DSM right now,
I was just going to say.
Fans would be tweeting like, yo, the Eagles better pick up Dylan right away. Like, the amount of why does every Eagles fan want every single other person's piece of trash? It annoys me. And there's so much information lost because everybody's got to retweet every single player's name out. Yo, Howie, pick this guy up. And really, it's just other teams' trash.
Because most fans think they are capable of being a GM, but a lot of it, like George brought up with Tartt yesterday, it was a good point. I think, like, I like the signing. I thought it was a good depth signing when they brought him in a couple months ago. I thought it would work out. It didn't, but a lot of fans get caught up in the name. They know that guy, so he's available. Go pick him up. So I think that's kind of what plays a role more than anything. Like, I don't know if you saw it's not a cut, it's not a free agent acquisition, but Alexander Madison is on the trade block for Minnesota. And I'm not saying I wouldn't do it for the right price. It'd be a nice little piece in the running back room.
If there's
However,
there's 12 teams going after him, I'm not overpaying to get him.
No, and the point is, like, everybody a week ago was fine with our running back room. Don't sign Kenyon Drake. Don't trade for Kareem Hunt. But now Alexander Madison's available. They saw him flash for 2 weeks without Dalvin Cook in the backfield, and we need that guy. Now we need to bring him in too. It does get a little tiring, guys.
So the other name that was cut yesterday, yeah. Did you see this one? I shared it on Twitter yesterday.
It was the worst tweet I've ever seen in my life.
The account has like 15,000 followers.
Yeah,
they're like a legit Vikings podcast group that has a huge following. And they not just Kelsey for Madison, it was Kelsey and a draft pick for Matt, like a 6-round pick in Kelsey.
Well, they had to sweeten the deal for Minnesota.
Got to sweeten the deal. Plus the graphics, the editing graphics. I'll see in a minute if I can find it, and we'll put it up on the screen here. The other running back that was cut yesterday that everybody's screaming for the Eagles to go get is Sony Michel, former.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, why? I mean, why would you be interested in him? I mean, like, what's he going to do that what we already have isn't going to do?
Yeah, with a guy like that, like a guy that I kind of wanted was a guy like Kenyon Drake, who's getting picked up by Baltimore, I believe.
It seems like,
that is.
Look at the edit job. Like, there's apps for this shit, isn't there? And this is what you do. Like, this is bad, is it not?
I'm not even going to discuss the shape on the helmet.
And we might get dinged on YouTube for that shape.
I don't know what we tried to do there, and then just like, fellas,
dude, that's bad. Come on, be better than that, guys.
Microsoft big.
Exactly.
I think it was, but to your point, like, I don't mind. I have no interest in collabing with the Purple FTW podcast. So
yeah, I'm never going to ask them to come week 2 when we're prepping for week 2. We are not.
I love how they say. I love how they say make it happen. Make it happen.
Get that shit off my screen, right?
Jesus.
That's pathetic, dude.
If anybody at Team DSM put that out on the social account, you'd be let go immediately. Just putting everybody on notice for that one.
No one's paid, but
that page has about 8 times the followers that we have right now on the Twitter page.
Like, I actually had to go and check and like research them to make sure they weren't like a parody account, but no, they are a legit podcast.
Yeah, that's
bad.
Teach
bad, man. That's why we evaluate you before we let you team them.
Skull, brother.
Yeah, George, I was thinking that as I was saying it. I think it would be hilarious to get them on the show now, just so I can bring that graphic up in the middle of the show without them knowing and be like, yo, guys, and then just cut them off of the show immediately after that.
Yeah. Whose intern was this?
Yeah, whose intern? Yeah. We're still looking for an intern. So Sony Michel is available. We're both not on board with Sony Michel. So I was doing research before the show this morning, looking at names that got cut. And I saw Josh Gordon's name got cut from Kansas City. I'm not saying I want Josh Gordon. But what I was saying was when I saw his name on the cut list, I was like, shit, he was on Kansas City. I didn't even know he was on Kansas City's, training camp roster. So I didn't believe the list. I'm like, is this list accurate or not? So I went and I Googled, is Josh Gordon, was he cut from Kansas City? And another name that has not been cut is a running back. And he's struggling to make the roster because they got a crowded roster room. They have a guy, third-year running back that's, pretty much cemented as a starter. They draft in the second or third round another running back, a guy that I was a fan of, but he kind of was the odd man out. He seems to be the odd man out everywhere he goes. But I always, in fantasy purposes, I always thought he had some potential to be a starter somewhere. Ronald Jones. He's in Kansas City.
Yeah. No, he was cut right before the show, I believe.
Oh, was he? As at like 7:30 this morning, he was not on the cut list yet. So I thought he would be a guy that maybe you offer a 7th round pick to him. I mean, 2 years ago in Tampa, he rushed for almost 1,000 yards in 14 games.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I read the tweet wrong. They will not be releasing Ronald Jones per league source.
Oh, okay. So they're holding up because there's Ronald Jones. They got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and they also have some guy that they drafted in the second or third round. He seems like an odd man out there. I don't know. Howie calls his old buddy Andy and be like, yo, can I give you a 7th round pick for Ronald Jones? He's a guy that can find the end zone. And he's almost a guy that's got some similar traits like that Miles Sanders does as well. Like he could be an every down back. There's a thought in my mind that started creeping around yesterday, Dylan, that Miles Sanders will not be playing for a few weeks into the season.
You think so?
There's in my mind something. I was reading articles and I was reading up and I was following along on social media with beat reporters yesterday. And all of a sudden I got this sneaky feeling that Miles Sanders will not be ready till week 2, 3, 4, something like that, which that's a big deal if you're going into the season with Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell as your only guys. So Ronald Jones is a name that intrigues me.
It's just so Miles Sanders-ish, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Like
you're fighting for a spot.
If you're on a contract year, the whole jab at you is that you can't stay healthy, you can't stay on the field. And it's not his fault, man. Injuries happen, hammies happen, but the problem is that thing's going to linger all year. You already know it. We're going to have inconsistency in that room all year long. I saw what Georgia. I saw the team is optimistic that he can play week 1 in Detroit. However, I did see what you said, Phil. A bunch of beat reporters are saying, I don't think so. So one side's off here. Either the team's just trying to protect it and play it cool right now, or the beat reporters are reading the room a little wrong.
This is what I see, Dylan. Like yesterday at practice, one of the backup safeties or cornerbacks was on the field in his jersey, doing some stretching, whatever. Jason Kelsey was in his jersey with no pads on, doing some light work. The injured guys that are close were doing some work on the practice field.
He's in street clothes?
He's in street clothes, and he was barely out there on the field for practice yesterday. That tells me he's not even close to coming back. And honestly, Detroit, we all think it's going to be an easy win. It's not going to be an easy win in Detroit. Minnesota is what they are. They're bad photoshoppers, but they're not. It's not like going up against the New York Jets or the third string Cleveland Browns. They're a good team, not a great team, but a good team. The start of the season is easy-ish compared to later in the season and compared to last year, but those first 2 games are tough.
Mm-hmm.
You need Miles Sanders out there or someone that can carry the ball, effectively. And do you really want Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell, and that is it out there? Week 1
my answer, man. That's a big fat no, but
exactly.
I don't know. I think when you roll those 2 out together and that's all you're going with, it's going to provide unnecessary push for Jalen Hurts to be more of a runner than he should be. Because who knows? Maybe they can exploit Detroit. I have no idea, but having like I said to you before, neither of those guys are traditional running backs. They are not 3-down backs. They are not power, but they're just pass catching guys who have a little bit of speed, who can get north and south at times if they can find a hole. Now, behind this offensive line, who knows? Maybe they have great success the first 2 weeks with just those 2. I have no freaking idea, but I'm not comfortable just rolling those 2 out for 4 or 5 weeks if Miles Sanders cannot stay healthy. But I don't know what the alternative is now that Kenyon Drake's off the board. A lot of people are anti-Kareem Hunt. Ronald Jones is not being cut, so
doesn't mean he's not available in a trade, though. Ronald Jones.
Yeah, that's true.
I just thought, so George, we'll get into Detroit next week, but I don't think it's 50. I think we win. I think it's 100% we win. It's just not going to be a 31-7 lopsided victory because, yes, the offense does need to knock the rust off.
Gardner Minshew will not be playing in Detroit like he did last year.
Exactly. It's a win. It's just going to be a tough one. And I'm sure Detroit needs to knock some rust off, too. I don't know how much Jared Goff's played, but my guess is Jared Goff hasn't played a boatload of snaps in the preseason either. But we'll get to that. Some other names I want to throw at you. Again, obviously, the safety room. We've got question marks. Obviously, one of the first bigger names that were released yesterday was Baltimore released Tony Jefferson, a safety.
Yeah.
I have zero interest in him. I know everybody's jumping over the name value because he had a really good season in 2016 in Arizona. But do we really need a 30-year-old safety when we just cut Jaquiski Tartt, who was 30? Any interest in Tony Jefferson? Is he an upgrade? Is he worth bumping Blankenship off the roster for Tony Jefferson?
Would it even bump Blankenship? I mean, you're talking Blankenship's probably the number 3 at the moment. So probably if you got to bump the 4th or 5th,
I think Shazir's got a little bit more a little bit more experience, and he plays the slot. I think Blankenship's your 4th guy. Blankenship is a special teamer at the moment. So
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've seen a lot of Tony Jefferson football in Baltimore in recent years, but from my understanding, from what I've seen by reports, is that they only released him because they're trying to give him a chance to go catch on somewhere else because there's no room. Like, he's not starting. They went out, they drafted Kyle Hamilton, and they brought in Williams. So they're trying to give him a chance to go start somewhere. So if
he's
that's the case,
look, let me tell you something. He broke out in 2016. I guess it was the end of his rookie deal in Arizona. 96 tackles, whereas 2 sacks. He didn't have any interceptions that year. And then he signed with Baltimore in the 17 offseason. And he started all 16 games. And he had 79 tackles that year. And then in 18, he played 14 games, 74 tackles. In 2019, He only played in 5 games. 2020, he did not play at all. I'm guessing he was injured. And last year, he played on 2 different teams last year and played in a total of 6 games with 18 tackles. No starts. So this guy has not been effective since 2016. And George, shout it as loud as you can. I'm putting everyone you put up there. No. He is not any better than what we've got. And there's no need.
Here's my problem with the no and what you just said. I'm sorry, we don't know that. You can have all the hope how the hell do we know what Reed Blankenship or Shashir actually is on a football team contending? I'm not saying I want Tony Jefferson or that he's a definite upgrade, but to say he's not he's not better than what is Andre Shashir? Yeah, we graduated high school that year, Gant. I don't know.
Scotty, I'm not delusional. I'm the one that's still pining for Jesse Bates on this team. But what
I think he's saying is to say that someone's not an upgrade over Andre Shashir or
yeah, like if we're talking about bringing him in, so why not keep the young guy that might have potential over a 30-year-old guy that we know has not been effective for 4 years? That's the point of it.
What's not effective? But what's not effective? Has he been I haven't seen him play. Has he been? Has he looked like Jaquiski Tartt looked in a preseason game behind everything, or is he just not putting up?
We don't know that because we're not watching Baltimore preseason.
Well, that's my point. Maybe he's just been fine.
The fact that he's not even on the field. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, availability can be
playing on special teams for Baltimore or San Francisco or anybody else. He's nowhere.
George says, sorry to break the stadium.
Yeah. Really? Where's my Miz gif? Really? I didn't know that.
You need that button on your soundboard. What?
I do. How do I program sound? Cover them up. You gotta teach me how to.
Hey man, you gotta teach me. I wish I knew.
I don't know. I know I can do it. I'll just say, really?
Someone
really?
Teach us.
Really? Yeah, I know he's not coming here. But that's the thing. I'm okay if you want to upgrade somebody that's going to make an impact. But if we're talking about the back end of the roster, I want guys that have higher upside. Tony Ferguson has no high upside to him. None whatsoever. Jefferson. What did I say?
Ferguson.
No, Tony Ferguson. Who's Tony Ferguson? Is he an actor?
I don't know. But so, listen, man, I'm excited to argue about the safety position all year long. If that's the only thing we have to argue about, I think we're we're okay. But we'll see.
One other name that I saw 4,000 Eagles people want was punter Sam Martin from the Broncos. I mentioned it to you yesterday. You said no, you're not worried about Sippos. There's a lot of Eagles fans that think Sippos is a bad punter. MMA fighter. That's right. He is an MMA fighter. That's right. I got you. That's good. That's good MMA knowledge from you there, Scotty. Any interest in upgrading the punter position with the top 5 punter in football?
Sure. Like when I tell you how much I should care, I guess more in terms of if we're backed up in our own end zone, I hope Sippos can get one across midfield or some shit. Come on, I don't know. I didn't think he was that bad last year.
He was 3rd in punt average and 5th in balls punts inside the 20.
Sippos?
No.
Oh.
The Broncos.
Well, yeah, sure. If he's a top,
I thought we were already done talking about it already. I closed his name off the screen.
If he's a top 5 punter, I mean, sure, you can upgrade the position. You can upgrade any position with a top 5 guy. But screaming from the mountaintops about the punter position's a little absurd to me. I mean, unless Sippos just absolutely for real.
Didn't a team give a punter a massive contract extension with guaranteed money in the offseason? I don't even know who it was, but.
You might be right. Or
is it the dude from the Raiders, the King, the guy number 7, the guy that's tackling? I think he's available out there too if you want to upgrade. All right, real quick. The biggest insult in football yesterday: Lane Johnson not in the top 100 players in the NFL. Talk about the disrespect to who is probably the number 1 right tackle in football, Lane Johnson. How he's not in the top 100. It blows my mind.
Yeah, it's something that I just can't comprehend or understand. That list every year, there's always multiple spots on it, multiple areas of it that I'm just like, man, What? Like I remember you're going to bring up availability, so a little preview for everybody. And I get that. However, I remember like 2 years ago there was a dude inside like the top 20 that played 2 games the previous year, and the list is based off of the previous year, the top 100 players of 2021. I get it. Lane Johnson missed what, 3-4 games. Lane, if you're top 1 at your position, if you're top 2, 3 at your position, I don't understand how you're not in the top 100 players of the NFL.
So I'm pretty sure I know Freddie's jumping in here saying it's the national media,
but it's
I'm
not.
pretty sure the players vote on this list.
Yeah,
I think this list is voted on by the other players.
Well, I
NFL.
think the players have something to do with it, but I think there's other stuff that goes into it. And I get it, but like if that was the case, if it was to clickbait Philly, Jason Kelce and Darius Slay wouldn't be on the list. Last year, a couple Eagles wouldn't have been on the list. Like it's not like they just held every Eagle off the list and was like, like get it, Philly. But
yeah, but he is the best.
It's weird.
So like I said, we talk about it, you hinted at it again, and KC's saying it here too. He missed a lot of time, not just last year, over the last 3 years.
Yeah, but the list is only based on last year.
So he missed 3-4 games last year.
We could run through that list and find guys that missed 3-4 plus games last year.
I don't agree with it. I'm just saying I'm trying to come up with a reason why. Someone brought up, wasn't he involved in some PED issues a few years back? Maybe there's some ill will towards him.
2015, I don't know.
I don't know. There's got to be something because let's be honest, Lane Johnson, he's in my top 10 most important list for the Eagles this year. Where does Jalen Hurts like to go when he rolls out? To the right side. I know everyone says the left tackle is the most important friend of a quarterback in football. Protect his blind side. But when Jalen Hurts, your quarterback, runs to the right, 9 times out of 10 when he scrambles, you need a right tackle that's out there that's keeping that section of the field clear. He's a very important player. He's the best at his position. All right, you want to say second best, whatever. There's nowhere. I didn't even want to bring up the list because I didn't even want to see some of the names. That punter might be on this list over Lane Johnson. That would really piss me off if I saw that. Somebody on that Minnesota Vikings team photoshopped is probably on this list.
Yeah, that's true.
Look, it's disrespectful to me. I really think it is. And I think Lane Johnson. Did you see Lane Johnson's quote yesterday? About he was asked how it feels to be one of the best left tackles in football. He says, "I don't know. Am I on the list?" Or he made some comment about the list and called people out for the list, and it was pretty well done. Yes, Hurts should be not Tom Brady number 1 on the list.
So
guarantee number 1 on the list. Is Tom Brady number 1 football player after last year? Should he be number 1?
I think he was listed at 1. Am I crazy?
He was. I'm saying should he be? Yeah. Should he have been number 1?
No. Well, what is he?
Based off of last year, who would have been your number 1 football player in the NFL?
Based off of last year, I was looking at the list. Well, first of all, he's the same position as 2 guys that should have been ahead. Like, if you're talking about back-to-back reigning MVP, Aaron Rodgers would be number 1. He was the best quarterback in football last year. Josh Allen has the argument to be ahead of him. And then there was one other that I saw in the top 5 or top 6 that should have been like I know the numbers were nuts, but like what was
let's see.
Why was Tom Brady the best player in football this year?
10 was Travis Kelce, 9 was Jalen Ramsey, 8 was Mahomes, 7 was Devontae Adams. I think that's a little high for him. T.J. Watt 6, Jonathan Taylor 5. I think that's pretty respectable. Cooper Kupp 4. I would have made a case for Cooper Kupp higher. Aaron Rodgers.
You could have made a cut for Jonathan Taylor too as a running back, putting
Donald
2,000 yards and 20 plus touchdowns. Like it just
absolutely. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is the top 3 anymore. And I think Cooper Kupp's season last year could have put him in the top. Like you said, Jonathan Taylor, T.J. Watt. Those defensive ends and rushers always get pretty highly rated up there. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of crazy here. Let's see the top 20. Let's see 20 through 11 real quick here. I said I wasn't going to look at the list, but I have to look at the list. J.C. Jackson, number 20 on the list. Deebo Samuel, 8-19. Really good. Shaquille Leonard, 18. Justin Jefferson, 17. Micah Parsons is a rookie at 16.
Deebo should have been higher, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Trent Williams, 14. Josh Allen, not even in the top 10. He's 13 on the list. Derrick Henry, 12. Myles Garrett, 11. Myles Garrett maybe a little high. I don't know.
In terms of last year, yeah. I mean, I had to look at the numbers, but I don't remember Myles Garrett, screaming
Step.
big season to me last year.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Matt. Cooper Kupp. I could have made a case to make Cooper Kupp number one. One of the best fantasy draft picks I ever made last year, like the third or fourth round. Getting Cooper Kupp. He ain't going in the third or fourth round
Not
this year,
buddy.
Yeah, and he's gonna have an awful season this year. I'm passing on him. Well, I'm just gonna let you all know in the DSM fantasy draft, if it comes to Cooper Kupp or somebody else in the first round for me, it's somebody else.
This is just Phil trying to lather everybody up so they pass on Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's it. We're gonna have more Eagles talk tomorrow. We also have tomorrow.
See you, George.
Yeah, see you, George. We're done with the Eagles talk for the day. Peace out, George, for the day. Trev, ref the district, the Washington Commies, like our counterpart in Washington. He's coming on tomorrow morning. We're going to do some Washington versus Eagles conversation. Check in with they've actually been at camp. They've actually grown way faster than we have. So they were actually at camp a few times. So they actually got access to camp a few times. So we're going to find out what's going on in Washington, whether you should be worried about Washington, talk about our favorite Washington quarterback, Carson Wentz, and get all that. He does great work. And we might even bring in some Nationals and Washington Wizards talk as well, because they cover all the teams there as well. So he'll be on tomorrow morning, 8:30, Trev from Ref the District. But we got to talk some Phillies. We ran out of time yesterday, so we got to talk about it. And I gave you a little tidbit, Dylan, at the end of the show yesterday. I said Overreaction Monday. There's a chance the Phillies go 3-3 this week. And you were kind of like, what? And what happened last night? They came out, and they just got smashed. They came out hot, scored, 6 runs pretty early, 6 or 7 runs early.
7.
And then Ranger Suarez and the bullpen just got demolished later in the game. I don't want to talk on it like, there was an error. I don't know how much that played a factor in it. A lot of the runs that Ranger Suarez gave up were unearned. I don't know. I don't want to
Ranger
talk about
got cooked in that 4th inning.
And now it's 2 out of his last 3 starts that he's gotten cooked.
Yeah.
Are Phillies fans getting way too hyped up because we went 6-1 last week against the bad Reds and the bad Pirates, and that they're overlooking this week? The Diamondbacks and Giants aren't playoff teams, but they're much better teams than we give them credit for.
Mm-hmm.
And the Diamondbacks, I thought last night was the game we had to win, because Bumgarner was the worst of the 3 starting pitchers we were going up against. And I think we're in trouble this week.
They took advantage of Mad Bum last night too, dude. Listen, I'm not going to get into, what does this game mean going forward? I saw a tweet earlier, and it's 110% correct. It's like, I'm not going to keep arguing whether this team is a good team with everybody, whether this team can, everyone that thinks it's the beginning of a collapse. I'm not getting into it because we've done that too often this season, and I'm just not going to overreact like that. However, Overreaction Tuesday, this was the worst loss of the season.
Mm-hmm.
The worst. Okay, you want to argue the 7-1 9th inning at home against the Mets? Sure. But even then, that's the 7-0. You get their starter and get to their bullpen in the 3rd inning, and you end up getting knocked the F out in that game.
You gave up 6 runs, 2 straight innings.
And back, Phil, those 2, Christopher Sanchez, and then between Ranger in that inning, Christopher Sanchez, and then Bilotti, they threw 91 pitches and recorded 2 outs. Do you 91 pitches in those 2 innings? Are you joking? Again, and I know they're a better team than the Reds and the Pirates. They're still not a good team. They're still not a dangerous lineup.
7 games below 500. Their lineup is not as good as
exactly to get to allow 12.
Yeah, my concern was that their pitching staff was going to give us fits. I didn't think we were going to give up 13 freaking runs in 2 innings.
No, and it looked so, dude, it was just an easy ride. And you know what? This is why I talk on Twitter all the time, but it was so funny seeing everyone's tweets at the time of the collapse, because people were saying they were going to bed because it was 7-0. Don't you love when the Phils continue to beat up on bad teams, et cetera, et cetera? And then it's like, boom. And I kind of like, so this is going to sound weird, right? I agree, because I get it. They didn't leave him out there too long. It was the 4th inning. He got through 3 1/3, right? However, if you watched how the inning progressed, Phil, everything he threw, off speed, sinker, was staying over the middle of the plate. he lost complete command. He had no juice on his fastball. And then there was an error. And then he loaded the bases. And Rob just continued. Again, I'm not going to blast Rob Thompson for Ranger Suarez and the bullpen collapsing like that. However, my biggest pet peeve, and I know it's hindsight's 2020, so I get it. If he records the out, if he gets out of the inning, it's fine. No big deal. But you're watching this dude from 20 feet away completely lose it and break down and watch your team blow a 7-0 lead. It gets to 7-4. Bases loaded, 1 out. You still leave him out there. Dude rips a double down the line, bases clear, 7-6, and then you put a little too late, Robbie. I'm not saying Sanchez or Bilotti was going to come in and finish off the inning and get out of it, but
obviously Sanchez came in and didn't do much anyway.
No, and then he comes in, has no control. He came in, walked 2, gave up a double, then hit a batter to walk a run in. It was the messiest 2 innings of baseball you'll ever see. Maybe, in the last couple of seasons. I don't know the last time I saw that.
What you're saying is we can blame Rob Thompson for it, right?
No, not at all. It's not his, but I'm just saying I blame him partially for you're watching Ranger. It's not like Ranger had 2 outs and you're hoping he can get this final out.
Right.
He had 1 out and lost all control of everything he was throwing. The momentum was completely their way. 1 out, bases loaded. You go get him, dude. Yeah. And you left them out there a little too long, and that was the nail in the coffin.
I'm torn right now because I want to say that it's just chalk it up. It's not like we've talked about a bunch of times how this offense is so inconsistent.
It wasn't their fault.
It's not like Madison Bumgarner came out and threw like a gem from 5 years ago. Yeah. 8 innings and shut us out, and our offense just went stone cold, and we wasted a Ranger Suarez start. Look, Ranger Suarez didn't have his best stuff. You're forced to use Chris Sanchez. The bullpen's got some issues right now early in the game. To me, I want to say that this is just one of those games that you chalk up to.
It is, but it was in horrible fashion.
Right. But then you see Rob Thompson not making the right moves at the right time there. Fine. All right. You want to chalk it up to, you can't blame it, whatever. But when we get to the end of the season, when we're playing the Braves again, when we're playing the Astros and whoever, we have a couple tough series. When we're battling for that second or third wild card spot, when we get to the playoffs and we play these good teams, you can pull from these games, the good ones and the bad games, information. And to me, you already said it. You think Ranger Suarez starts game 3 of the playoffs. Does last night change your opinion at all? Does the last 2 or 3 starts of Ranger Suarez change your opinion at all? Because now you're at a point where maybe you start to question that.
No, only because with his bad start came a Kyle Gibson and Noah Syndergaard bad start as well. So it's not like in his last 2 bad starts, Kyle Gibson's taken the reins and gone 8 strong, and he's bumped up the list. Syndergaard got rocked his last time out. The time before that, even though he threw a good game, as we talked about, only recorded 1 strikeout, and people were worried about that. So it's weird to me, man, because they just went 6-1, and I'm not worried. I'm not. This isn't a. They
went 6-0, and now they've gone 0-2.
Right.
Let's rephrase it. They didn't go 6-1 and then lost last night. They went 6-0, and now they're 0-2.
But it's weird, right? Because they're cruising, and it still feels like they're kind of cruising. And then the lineup comes out last night, and you're like, this is fun. This team's hitting its stride in the right moment. But they're not at the same time. The bullpen's beat up and starting to struggle over the last week and a half. The back end of the starters and even the top guy are starting to struggle. The manager's been making some questionable decisions. Now Nick Castellanos has turf toe all of a sudden. I didn't even know that was a thing until McCarthy brought it up last night. So
he's supposed to have it for a week or 2.
He's got to play the field. So hopefully he was just sitting out last night and he'll be right back out there tonight. But I'm with you, man. It's not. I don't care I don't care if you lose to the Diamondbacks. Don't lose to the Diamondbacks in that fashion. Don't lose to anybody in that fashion, let alone the Arizona Diamondbacks. So it was very frustrating last night.
Needed last night's game because then, Aaron Nola goes tonight, but so does Zach Gallen. He's an excellent pitcher. Let's not shake nothing around. Top 10 in ERA, 8th in WHIP. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball, Zach Gallen. This is going to be a tough one tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And you lose that last game against the Pirates. then you lose in the fashion you did last night. I mean, Rob Thompson better be in that locker room today before the game, firing the troops up, because this is the type of game where Aaron Nola comes out tonight, pitches a gem, goes 7 innings, gives up a run, whatever. But guess what? Zach Gallen could do the same.
We lose 2-1, 1-0,
2-1 or 1-0 or something. Like, this is that type of game. Now all of a sudden you're on a 3-game losing streak, and we've seen it.
And you lost the series.
You lost the series, and look, and tomorrow. Hold on, let me go back here. Tomorrow's starting pitcher is no cakewalk either. Where is it? Henry. We got Falter going up against Tommy Henry, another guy with a sub 3.2. He's got a 3.25 ERA. So it's not like it gets easier for the Phillies. So and we've seen a couple times where we get on these winning streaks and we get our chests all pumped out and ready to roll. Then what happens? We go on a 5-game losing streak, and we're
that's
right
the big
back
thing
to
here,
where we
right?
started.
So you are right. We've seen multiple times where they can't just get over that. Not that last week was a complete utter success. You win 6 straight throughout that week. I joked around saying, "Oh well, they'll go 7-0 this week. 6-1 in the week span is incredible. It doesn't matter who it's against." However, we have seen where they haven't been able to extend it to instead of a 6-game win streak, could have been a 9, 10-game win streak, right?
Mm-hmm.
How we've also seen all year long them be able to bounce back quickly, have a short memory, backs against the wall after a bad loss, come out and respond. That's exactly what you're looking for tonight. If that continues to be this team's identity, just like we forgot about the Cubs series, just like we forgot about the Mets series, we'll forget about last night's bad loss in a week or so if they can right the ship tonight and finishing this West Coast trip. But it is going to be difficult.
You got Gallen tonight. I mentioned Henry tomorrow night, so he's not as well known.
You're probably seeing. I don't know if you're seeing Rodon.
I'm going through it. Cobb on Friday, who's a really good pitcher. Junis, he's not really that good on Saturday afternoon. But then you got Rodon on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah,
there's
tough.
1, 2, 3, 4 of the next 5 starting pitchers are guys that could take our team and give us fits.
Yeah. Well, this is where the lineup has to step up.
This is why I said last night was an important game to win, but also why I said don't be surprised if we go through. Look, most times, if you would have said 6 months ago, 6 weeks ago, 2 years ago, you're going on a West Coast trip and you're going to go 3-3, I would accept that most times. But with the way this team's been playing and what the trajectory of this team has been lately, you would think
4-2.
4-2. Anything less than that would be a disappointment. And 3-3 right now, if they go 3-3, we should be happy with that, I think.
Yeah.
But it's going to feel like a disappointment, and the negative Philly fans are going to read into it too much. I'm just trying to prep people for the realistic expectations that we could end up 3-3 by the end of this week.
Yeah. No, you're right. And like you said, losing last night puts you in the hole, obviously, to start out the series, but it puts you at a disadvantage with who's coming up on the bump against you. And you like it's funny, right? Because I sit here and I say, well, now the bats have to step up. Sure. Pretty sure the bats stepped up last night. Like when Bailey Falter's on the mound tomorrow.
Outside of being shut out Sunday, they've gone since last week. They've gone 4. Well, they went. Let's go back to the last game against the Mets. 9-4, 7-7, 4-7, 6-0-7. So they're scoring runs, and they have been since Sunday of the 21st. So, they're due for a cold streak. Uh-oh.
We'll see, man. Like, I'll tell you, if I can pull one positive out of it, Bryce is locked in. And
Bryce,
if there's a man that can carry you through any type of rough patch you have, it's Bryce Harper. And my God, dude, like he hasn't put one over the fence yet. I know he only hit a couple singles, but he picked up a couple RBIs early in his return. Then he comes out last night. Both doubles he had were absolutely smoked. Schwarber hit a piss missile and almost led the game off with one. It missed by 2 feet.
A what?
A piss missile.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Can you coin that phrase?
I don't think I'm the one who should coin it, but sure, yeah.
Hashtag piss missile every time Schwarber hits one like that. I like it. I had something else to say now. Now I'm completely thrown off. Oh, yeah. We haven't actually talked Phillies on a show since Harper's come back.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Rob Thompson putting him in the 4 hole? I'm not thrilled with it, but I'm not against it. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about it yet.
Me neither, but it's worked out. Like he's hitting well in the 4-hole. It's not like he struggled in that spot. It's like Bryce needs to get back to the 3-hole. He's driving runs in. He's not hitting for power yet, but it feels like power. Like it's coming off his bat at like 107 miles per hour every time, it feels like. So he's locked in, and it's something I didn't picture Thompson doing, but I like it. I like it because it keeps Bohm in a 3-hole, and he's been your most consistent, best hitter. He gets on base in front of Bryce. Like I said, you leave Schwarber in the leadoff spot, and Reese gets to stay at the 2 because Bohm doesn't have to bump him out of the 2. So I like it for what it is right now. You have JT and Costi kind of behind Bryce, so he's still protected in the lineup. It's not like you move him back and now, not that Stott's not hitting well, but it's not like Stott's behind him and teams can kind of work with Bryce, work around Bryce. JT and Nick are behind him.
Right.
So you can't really do that at the moment.
Right. No, I agree. And like I said, I'm looking at last night's box score and Bryce in the 2-hole, all 3 guys ahead of him all had 2 hits.
Yeah.
So those guys are getting on base. That's all that matters. Now, if they had all gone 0 for 5, you know what I mean? Then you're like, all right, maybe you need to bump them back up.
Right.
But as long as those guys produce, I'm perfectly fine with it at this point. Do the Phillies get the win tonight against Gallant? Does Nola come out and deal, and do we get the win?
It's been their DNA all year long, so I'm not going to go against it now. I do believe in this team, though, man. Like last night, everyone was so up in arms after the Mets series, and it left a really bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And I was the one that came on here with you, Phil, and said, pump the brakes, slow down, relax.
Yep.
Last night has me with the bad taste in my mouth. And I need them to come out tonight and show what their DNA is, show that they can respond against adversity, and get a win against a tough pitcher with what right now is your ace on the mound with Wheeler on the shelf. So yeah, I'm going to say Phillies win. And I think that the bats somehow, I was going to say the bats keep it up. It's tough when it's Gallant on the mound, but I think they do. I think they at least score 5 runs tonight.
Okay. I'm going to put a homework assignment on you if you got some free time today. I need you to look up because Aaron Nola's now got 3 years in a row with a complete game shutout. I want to know what his record is in those 3 games after the complete game shutout.
All right, yeah, I'll look.
If Aaron Nola even remotely struggles tonight, we don't win. We need Aaron Nola to go 7-8 innings, give up 1 run or less. If he does that, we win the game. But if for some reason Aaron Nola gives up 3 or 4 runs or goes only 6 innings and gives up 2 or 3 runs, then I'm a lot less confident tonight. I want to see Aaron Nola go 7-8 innings, 1 run, another shutout. But I'm not sure. Like there's got to be some information out there how he's done in his post complete game shutouts. And for some reason, I don't know. I'm scared to know what this information is because
it's either really good or really bad. I don't think there's an in between.
The only positive thing I'm going to say is that in last game, he did only throw 101 pitches in a complete game shutout. Mm-hmm. It's not like he had to get 118 pitches to complete that game or 123 pitches. He was able to do it in 101 pitches, which is average for a starting pitcher anymore anyway. So, I'm hoping if Aaron Nola does well tonight, that's the only way because I have no confidence in the Phillies getting 5 runs on Zach Gallen tonight. None.
I think that the offense is able to keep it up. And my last message for all my Philly fans out there. And don't get me wrong, last night sucked. But when I say that good teams, be happy about that. When I say that good teams lose to bad teams all the time, you can just look in this past weekend, in this past 4 or 5 days around the Major League Baseball. The Los Angeles Dodgers struggled against the Miami Marlins. The Toronto Blue Jays got swept by the Los Angeles Angels. The Angels then last night beat the Yankees. Okay? It happens. But good teams lose to bad teams all the time, so do not press that big red panic button just yet because they drop game 1 against the Diamondbacks. If they get swept versus the Diamondbacks, if they go 2-4 on this West Coast trip, we can have a talk at the end of the week, but let's see it play out.
All right. One final topic today on Training the AM. Got to see how this plays out. Serena Williams, her final U.S. Open started yesterday. I know you're not a big tennis fan, Dylan, but we all know who Serena Williams is. I'm a huge tennis fan. Serena Williams is someone, in my opinion, that she gets a lot of credit, obviously, but is underrated. And I know that's hard to imagine for Serena Williams, but she's underrated in the Mount Rushmore list of athletes of all time. She is one
Probably,
of the greatest female athletes of all time, if not the best female athlete of all time. She's not just the best female tennis player. She's one of the 2 or 3 best tennis players, period, men or women of all time. She's 40. She put out an essay a month or so ago, basically saying she's retiring at the end of this season. She hasn't even been playing much. She had to be given a qualifier seat, like almost like an exemption into the U.S. Open. She's 40. She won last night, 6-3, 6-3 against Danka Kovanic. A sellout crowd, Arthur Ashe Stadium, center court. Tickets on the secondary market were going for almost $1,000 a pop for a first-round U.S. Open match. She's a 23-time major champion. I mean, I'm talking, listen to some of these names that showed up last night to see her first-round match that a lot of people predicted she would lose. Bill Clinton was there, Spike Lee, Lindsey Vonn, Rebel Wilson, Vera Wang, Mike Tyson, Gladys Knight, and that's just a small list of a large list of names that was there. Is Serena Williams? Let's try to make this as fair as possible. Is she in your top 10 athletes of all time? Period. All sports, men and women, top 10 athletes of all time. Because she, no doubt about it. Maybe because I know tennis and appreciate tennis a little bit more. She is in my top 10, no doubt about it. I mean, we'd have to do a really detailed list.
Probably. I'm trying to run like through 1 or 2 of each sport. You have LeBron, Jordan, not in that order, excuse me. Jordan, LeBron, Brady, Tiger, Ali.
Michael Phelps, maybe.
Right, Michael Phelps, Gretzky, whatever you want to do for baseball. There's a lot of ways you can go with baseball. So yeah, like again, we just talked about how Lane Johnson is, and again, I'm not a tennis guy, so but we just talked about how Lane Johnson is the best, or if not top 2 at his position in the sport. How's he left off this top 100 list, right? Mm-hmm. If you are the greatest of all time in your sport, or in terms of female athlete, yes, like you
and it's not just what they do on the court. Like Tiger Woods created a whole new, like right. He brought so many people into the game, and he did great things for the game. He made it bigger. Serena Williams was the same way. She influenced so many.
Hashtag set the trends.
She set the trends. That's right. I like it. On trending in the area. She set the trend. She made so many girls and guys want to be tennis players. She, changed the way tennis players dressed and looked and the way they played. Like female tennis players before Serena Williams, there was no power in the game. And now she became the most powerful tennis player. Then all the young girls growing up tried to emulate her. She has influenced.
Yeah, when you change the game in that sense, for sure. Yeah. Like that's why, when you talk about the NBA, like a guy like Steph Curry is solidified top 10 all time for me, and people will argue that. And when you change the game in a certain way, when you set the trends, you have to be considered one of the greatest of all times in that specific sport and in that area. So yeah, she's definitely there. The last thing I'll say on a lighter note, Phil, is history clearly has a price tag. Like people want to go see history. That's why the price gets jacked up. History's got a limit, bro. I'll see you guys at home. I trust me. I would love to be in the building. I would have loved to be in the building when Steph broke the 3-point record. I would have loved to be in the building for a lot of things. History's got a limit.
I had a chance to be in the building on the night that Barry Bonds broke the home run record.
How much that go for?
Scalping tickets in foul territory. We're going, and in baseball, you don't know what night he's going to hit the record.
Right.
So it was he was set there to break the record that night, and it was like foul territory tickets were like $600 in the upper deck.
Yeah.
And I was 23 or 24. I forget how old I was.
Crazy.
Exactly. I was like,
crazy.
Nah, sorry, bro. I'm like, if you don't sell those tickets in 30 minutes, come back and find me. I'll be at that bar over there. And he never came back to find me.
I'll see you with $200 because history's definitely got a price tag limit for me. Like you guys are.
Look, I'm a huge tennis guy. I would love to go to Arthur Ashe Stadium and see a tennis match. But dude, I'm not dropping $1,000 to go watch Serena Williams in a first round match.
Sorry.
Especially when she was projected to lose. And now just imagine round 2 tomorrow night. She's going up against the number 2
even
ranked
more
player in the world. They're going to go for $1,200-$1,500 a pop tomorrow night. No doubt about it.
Dude, remember what Duke UNC tickets were going for Coach K's farewell? College basketball was going for thousands of dollars per ticket. Thousands.
Dude, no lie. And this is a story I haven't talked about many times. When the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, I was in a contest on DraftKings, and I was in the running to win 2 free Super Bowl tickets. And I finished in third place out of like 300,000 people for those tickets. And I had already started Google searching on the open market how much my tickets were worth. Because no offense, I was going to be able to get a crap ton of money for those 2 Super Bowl tickets. And I would love to go to a Super Bowl. I would love to see the Eagles win a Super Bowl.
That's why DraftKings doesn't sponsor you, bro. You tried to rig the system.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I would have gotten close to $20,000 for that ticket package.
Oh, yeah. I probably would have watched the Super Bowl at home.
Exactly. I mean, why wouldn't I? So
extra $20K in my pocket, better seat.
Man.
I don't got to travel in the snow to.
And I own a pizza shop, so it'd been really hard for me to take the weekend off. You know, yeah.
I never asked you, how'd you do that?
What?
Well, you were open, and you were probably busy as hell. Did you work?
Yeah, I worked. But normally Super Bowl Sunday, the business ends, like the busy part ends by kickoff. So what I do every Super Bowl year, including the Eagles year, I watch the first half. While my staff is cleaning up from the rush, I watch the first half at the shop, and then we're closed by halftime, and then I drive home during halftime, and I get home for the second half. And that's exactly how I handled the Eagles.
So you didn't see Justin Timberlake serenade everybody?
No. Who? Get that crap out of here. No, bring me back Bruce Springsteen at the halftime show. We did a whole show.
Oh, wow, that's... You're going to have some people coming for you for that on that one.
I know. We already did it. We already did a top 3 Super Bowl halftime show of all time episode. I'll have to go back and find that. I think Mark was on that show, and so was Jason. So, yeah.
Last year's was up there. Last year
was great there. It was definitely great. The Prince one was phenomenal. There was a lot of really good ones. But, yeah, there's a price for everything. So, yeah, there's definitely. The $1 Million Man once said, everybody's got a price.
Yeah.
And he's spot on with that. All right, we're gonna wrap
my $10 cheesesteak from home.
Screw that. Cheesesteaks cost more than that now, bro.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I saw my man KC post a picture of $6.99 wings. I'm like, either they're super tiny, or I'm just gonna go buy them and then reach them in my shop.
No, he only got 3 wings. That's why.
Jeez, oh my god.
Yeah, that's what I meant, Freddie. He was on during the Eagles Super Bowl. Phil didn't see it. Wardrobe malfunction. I don't know.
No, that was maybe the wardrobe malfunction was years before that. That was the Janet Jackson JT one when he ripped Janet Jackson's shirt off by mistake, by mistake.
Good work.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna wrap it up right there. We got to end this show. I got to get to work here. Trending the AM right here on DSM Media. Again, if you're watching on replay, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop comments even on the replay. I check the comments throughout the day, and if you put something good, I will respond to you. Make sure you do that. Share it out to everybody. Retweet, follow on all social media platforms. We'll be back tomorrow. Again, don't forget, Trev from Ref the District will be here talking Eagles, Washington Commies. I don't know. I think the over-under is set by 7.5 times. Then I'm going to call him a commie on the show. I'm not sure how many times I will say it, but I will say it a lot. He's a great guy, great guest. He does great work, and the Ref the District team does. So we will be back tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. right here on Training the AM. Y'all all have a great day, all right?
And Philadelphia has it.